Start with the Lightning Talks. Okay. Michal Rostecki.
All right, so in this lightning talk, I will talk about how to write safe wrappers over C libraries in Rust. My name is Michal Rostecki. I work with Exane as a software engineer. Wadadowski is my nickname. You can find me on GitHub, and I'm a contributor to several Rust projects, including Aya, which is a library for writing eBPF programs in Rust, Pulsar, which is a security scanner for IoT devices, and to Solana. To wrap C code in Rust, you need to use the concept of FFI, which is a foreign function interface. It allows you to call foreign functions from your Rust code as long as you declare the function signatures correctly. And in Rust, you can do it with extern block and combination of extern block and link section, which tells to which library your Rust project should link. And the lightning talk is going to be short. So short example will be writing a very tiny wrapper over SQLite. So basically, our task would be to open SQLite database, execute some query, and close the connection. And first question for you: how many of you have C background before you started with Rust? Okay, well, the very basic. The first step for wrapping your C library in Rust is using extern C and with combination and link, and to define the function declarations. Usually you don't do it by hand. You can use bindgen CLI to do that. So you can just find bindgen on crates.io, install it, point it to the C header, and it will generate the extern C and all the function declarations for you. That's the first step. And then the second step, once you have those bindings and once you can link properly to your C library, the next task is to start using those functions. And usually people who have C background and just start with Rust, including me, end up with writing such codes. And I guess if you are more experienced with Rust, you can already see many things which are going wrong here. But unfortunately, that's how usually people start. This code is basically opening the connection to SQLite. It's creating some table. It's making some insertion to the database and then closing. And it's very verbose. It's basically like one-to-one mapping of C code to Rust. We even at the beginning declare the database connection as a raw null pointer, and we pass it to C functions. And I mean, C functions expect to be called like that, and they expect the null pointer to be provided so they can initialize it. But we cannot just ship our Rust code like that. And the things which are wrong with this code is, first of all, it's entirely unsafe. And even for simplicity, I marked the whole of it as unsafe, because otherwise, almost every line would be unsafe separately. Second of all, it opens and closes the database in the C style, which means that if you forget to close the connection, then it's the mistake on your side. Then also the other thing is that it's using the C strings explicitly. The next bad thing is that it uses comparisons with integers for handling errors instead of result. And then last but not least, it's using null pointers explicitly. How can we change it? And what are the good practices of writing your Rust libraries, wrapping C libraries? The first step is to wrap all the pointer types into the custom structs and build them in the way that it never leaks the pointers to the developer using the library. In this case, it would be super simple. We could just like have a struct which wraps the row pointer to SQLite connection. Second of all, it would be nice to have some custom error types to return. And our wrapper would be super simple. So we have like our custom errors. Then we could define the rest of functions, the rest of methods in our wrapper in this way. Like this for opening database, then to not forget about closing, we can use the drop trait to handle the database connection, to handle the closing of database connection. For executing the query, we can do something like this. And then at the end, our Rust code is beautiful, it's nice, and we can use the library. In this form, we can ship our library to actual users. It's an improvement. We don't use unsafe, we use result. There are, of course, more things we could do further. When we develop the library, we could use data carrying enums, into and from. We could like start consideration about send and sync. That's all. It was a very short presentation. Definitely, there are more things to explore here, but yeah, it was just to give you an idea. If you start with C, how to do Rusty libraries. Thank you.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Santiago Fraire Vilemos.
Thank you. Hi, everyone. So I'm going to quickly cover Nix and direnv. Don't expect anything crazy because Nix is a whole universe. So this is kind of an introduction of some things that in 5 minutes I think you can benefit from Nix and direnv, these two nice tools. So here first, for the installation, there is an installer for Nix that will install it in your computer, and I recommend using this determinate installer because it works well with the Mac, especially if you're using Mac. I'm not going to talk about the Nix OS, that's a whole different universe. And then with the Nix itself, you can install direnv. Of course, there are many ways to install direnv, and if you install direnv, don't forget to hook it into your shell. And after installing Nix, remember to configure the cache. You can look it up online because otherwise you might get slow builds. Very quickly, what is Nix? It's a trinity of things. It's a package manager, it's a language, and it's an operating system. I'm going to talk specifically about the package manager. And the idea of Nix is to make everything deterministic and have reproducible builds. These are some of the things you can do with Nix. Yeah, you can use it as a package manager, build application, Docker container, create virtual machines, create your own ISOs, control many fleet of servers. It works as an operating system. But in this case, I'm going to, in this quick talk, I'm going to try to explain these two, package manager and how to create development environments. So when you jump into your project, it loads the dependencies it needs. As a package manager, I think it has the ability to replace apt, brew, pipex, apk, and you can just use these commands, how to install, how to remove, how to upgrade. I think, and we're not talking about the language and anything. With this, usually when you are writing documentation, sometimes you have to explain how to do it in Linux, on Mac, on anything else, and you can just use Nix as a package manager. This doesn't give you any reproducibility, but I think makes things more consistent. And if you go to this URL, you can search for the packages. It has more than 100K, and I think it's one of the biggest repositories of packages. Then what is direnv? It's a tool that when you jump into a directory, it can load stuff. For example, if you are doing Python, you can already start using direnv. It's unrelated to Nix, so you can check if there is a virtual env, create it and activate the virtual env. And yeah, you can execute commands as soon as you jump into a directory. You just have to place a .env rc file. And then for development environments, for this we are going to combine Nix and direnv. First, in our env.rc, we put a use flake, and we create a flake. And don't forget to tell Git to add these two files, because Nix needs the files to be kind of tracked. And then we create our flake.nix that looks horrible, but you only need to care about this build inputs. And if we zoom into the build inputs, you can put all your dependencies. And when you run, I created a template that will give you just this file, and you can search then on the repository all the packages that you need. In this case, for example, we load a lot of things. And when we allow direnv, it will pull all the dependencies, and then you have all of this. And the flake.nix, we create a log that will guarantee that the dependencies are always the same. So a person on Linux, on Mac, if they have direnv, they jump in and they get the same dependencies. And also, I believe that if you introduce Nix these ways, then you can start benefiting from more of the things Nix has to offer if everyone is using Nix. So the upsides, you get reproducible environments everywhere. You don't need to install things globally because they will be per project. Project might be using Java 17 and another Java 8. So, and this won't pollute your global scope in the terminal. And it's very easy to use with GitHub Actions and to cache some of these dependencies, and then it goes fast. Some of the downsides, if something is not properly configured or the cache is not there, it will have to build everything, and it might take a long time. And the Nix language can be very hard to debug. So in summary, you can use a single package manager everywhere. You can, once you have a Nix and you are using it as your package manager, you can start using the development environments with direnv, and no more it works on my machine. And that's it. Thanks.
Thank you, Santiago.
Okay.
Orun Parmaxis.
So this lightning talk will be about 7 awesome Rust tools that I found and I'm using in my terminal workflow. I wanted to mention the things that you don't know. So if you know any of these tools, you will get a sticker from me. But also, if you write Rust, you'll get a sticker. So you'll get a sticker anyways. Just find me. So let's start. I have 5 minutes and I have 7 tools. Little introduction about me. This is a spinning rat over there for fun in the terminal. I'm an open source developer. I maintain a library called Ratatouille. This is for creating TUI libraries, and all of the tools that I'm going to show you today, they all use this library. I'm a packager for Arch Linux, by the way. Let's go. So first one is TUI Journal. I use this daily. This is for taking notes. So for example, I have some stuff here. The highlight item is not that great, but it's about the theme. So I just switch to the screen. This terminal, when I want to create a note, and then I press N, and I type something, and then enter, and there you go. You can also add more content to it, and it looks like this. You can just type in stuff on the right side, and very quick. You can use labels to have labels like important, to do, TUI, whatever. So yeah, this is quite cool. This was the first one. Go on to the second one. We have repgrep. I assume you guys know ripgrep, but this is this actually uses ripgrep, but for something else. So when I want to have, for example, I want to replace some things in my code base, and in VS Code it was quite easy, but I don't use VS Code anymore. I'm happy by that decision. And I use this tool, repgrep, to quickly replace things. So for example, in this code base, I want to replace something like cross term with something else. I just run it. It shows me some of the what it finds basically, and I can select or deselect the things that I want. For example, I don't want to do any modifications in the cargo log file, so I'll just cancel them, and I just type whatever I want there. For example, turn me on, and then press Control S, and then press Enter. There you go. You have replaced all the stuff in your code base. Thank you. Okay, moving on. We have this one, Seri, a rich Git commit graph. I think this is just cool. I'm gonna show it to you. So if you run it, you get like the commit history and also this graph over there. So for example, the workshop that I gave 2 days ago, it had some branches and like some solutions, and I can just see them over here very clearly. Yeah, like you know, you have this graph, and it's like Git log, but it's actually kind of better in some ways because it's better visuals and so on. So it looks cool. And this is actually an image. That's kind of interesting. So your terminal needs to render an image and show it there. Quite interesting stuff. Moving on, we have rain frog. So this is for, if you're dealing with databases, this is quite useful. Database management tree. So 1 second. So for example, for the entries for the TUI journal, they use the SQLite database. And we can just use rainfrog to browse this database. Rainfrog supports different drivers. I'm going to select SQLite. I'm going to give the path. And there you have it, some like database browsing TUI you have. And then you can, for example, go to entries, press enter. It runs the query, and you can just browse the contents of the database, basically. And yeah. All right, moving on, we have NetScanner. If you like the terminal and if you like using terminal for your system administration purposes, you will probably like this. So you just run this. I hope I'm not exposing my root password here. Cool. You have the Wi-Fi networks. In a second, they will show up. Yep. And also you can like discover the devices on the network. So press S. It will start scanning and show the devices, and also you can see the packets going through. You can dox yourself by doing this. The ports and traffic and so on. So it's quite useful to monitor the network. Moving on, I'm trying to speed run this. We have Glim. I especially like this because it looks super cool. So if you use GitLab, any instance of it, just run this, and you will see your GitLab pipelines in the terminal. For example, I run it on the Arch Linux GitLab, and I can select a project. I can see the pipelines in the project, and one of them failed, so I just press enter. I see the failed pipeline. If I select one of these options, I just go to the browser, and there you have it, for example. And it has some effects and so on, so quite cool. You can just integrate your project into this, and you don't need to use the browser to see the pipeline statuses, so on. And so yeah, this is also showing like multiple projects as well. So yeah, moving on, we have this Postman-like client. So if you run this, you have Postman in the terminal. That's it. Basically, that's the pitch. And you can do a bunch of stuff there, like test get. Press enter, you send a request and get the request. You can have like write scripts there and so on. You can import your Postman collections as well. So that works like that. So you don't need Postman anymore. Congratulations. And honorable mention, we have Plastic, which is an NES emulator. This is fun. So you run it, you open a ROM. For example, let's do Sonic, let's do Mario. And there you have it. You can play NES games on the terminal now. It will play in a second. If you make the font size smaller, it will get better in quality. So there you go. Also, let me try the Sonic as well. Once we have that. Yeah, I like Sonic. So yeah, if you want to learn more about all of this, I have a YouTube channel where I like review some of these thermal tools. I'll also do live streams. So feel free to follow me, sponsor me on GitHub. Thank you. Hit the bell, subscribe. Goodbye. Let's go to lunch.